Every uncomfortable feeling you have, it's the lie to yourself. And that you have to just click and then think about it. What are you lying to yourself about?
"83% of Americans identify as not very happy, which can hold you back and negatively affect your relationships and your business." On this podcast, we discuss the proven steps to happiness so you can restore balance and rekindle your joy.
Welcome to another episode of How to Be Happier. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I certainly am. Played a little pickleball this morning, did some yoga, so my day is awesome. We've got a pretty cool show today. We're going to be talking about personal and professional growth, and we're talking about something that most people don't realize hinders their personal and professional growth. So, Kate, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing really good. Also, some yoga and walk and a morning walk. Thank you for inviting me.
I tell you what, man, yoga is, I committed, I was kind of the, every couple months or once a month type of person. And about 3 weeks ago, I'm like, I'm doing this every day. I work out 5 days a week. So every day, like 5 days a week. And man, is it awesome. It just brings so many benefits. So yeah, if you don't do yoga, start doing yoga, consider doing yoga. If you don't meditate, start considering. Some of these last couple of podcasts, we've had some meditation experts, and just the benefits of meditation and yoga are pretty phenomenal. So, Kate, let's jump right in as we always do. Can you share your kind of your core philosophy on personal and professional coaching? How do you approach clients so that you can unlock their true potential? Because we believe everyone's limitless.
Yes. So my main things are two, actually. One is always the root cause. You know that. Finding the root cause. The second one is be flexible. And be flexible means so many things. But for me, it's like coming into the session, coming into the coaching session, or it's a hypnotherapy session with an open mind. Meet the client where they are and see the world with their eyes. And to understand them better, it just helps so much.
So you said root cause, and you said that. Let's go deep there. We're both fellow RTTers, rapid transformational therapy. Tell the world and our listeners what that is, and what the heck is root cause, and why does it even matter?
Yeah. So when I was starting my self-development journey, I was always questioning why it has to take so long, why I do the tools, change the behaviors, try to talk to myself kindly and more compassionately, but it just takes so much time. When I found RTT, I realized wow, the change can happen from the huge realization or the insight. I call it a quantum leap. People call it a quantum leap as well in healing. RTT is that method that can help people get that insight that becomes a quantum leap in their journey, in their healing, in changing the behaviors, the thoughts, the triggers. And that's how I got into RTT.
So what's this business about root cause? Why is that? What is it, and why is that important?
As in any other thing in medical field, root cause, if it's not resolved, it's called symptom imperative. What does that mean is if you don't resolve the root cause, or you just shut down the symptom, numb it, try to fix it a little bit, whatever it is, then the symptom will travel in the body and show up in other areas of our tissues, organs, cells. The same with mental health. If you just shut down the symptom, the root cause is going to travel and show up in other areas of our life. It's very evident when people say, I stopped smoking, started gaining weight. I stopped drinking, started to get rage or anger outbursts. The same. This just confirms that if you don't resolve the root cause, it's going to show up somewhere else.
And unfortunately, the word you use, symptom something, the term that you use, isn't that exactly what, unfortunately, pharmaceuticals do?
Yes, unfortunately, that's exactly what it is. Doctors have 10 minutes for you. They have 10 minutes to listen to your complaints and to the pains that you have and get you the medication that can help you in the meantime. They don't have the time, really, unfortunately, to look into your story.
Yeah, they don't have the time or they don't have the know-how, unfortunately, too, because they weren't trained. They were taught to diagnose, label, and then give drugs, which is really unfortunate. Because when's the last time you went to a doctor and they said, he or she said, "Hey, what was your childhood like? Or are you nervous? Are you depressed? Are you anxious? Like
Exactly. And
ever?"
never. Actually, never. And unfortunately, sometimes in the coaching business, you might notice similar strategies. People say you have a behavior, for example, you have a scarce mentality or you have a mental block. It's like, let's change your behavior. Let's start doing something and you are going to think differently. And the trick here is that the thought is much stronger. And if the thought is unconscious, it's even stronger, which means that you might change the behavior, but you're going to drift back, either self sabotage or just drifting back into the familiar.
Yeah, love Tony Robbins. So this isn't a dig on him, but so many people go to those 3-day events and it's rah rah rah, and they come home and they're like, I'm a different person. And then 3 days later they look around, they're like, but wait, I'm still drinking. I'm still arguing with my wife for shutting down. I'm eating too much. Whatever I still feel anxious or depressed, and it's because what you just said. You haven't gotten to the root cause, because none of us were born with anxiety, depression, eating problems, right? They were learned along the way. So Kate, you mentioned earlier rapid, the word rapid. You're like, I couldn't believe that change could happen so fast. How fast are we talking here?
I've seen starting from right after session, and I've seen 3, 4, 6 months. So I've seen different cases, but once I realized that it's available out there, the change is available for a fast turnout, right? So, for example, if I have a client with panic attacks regarding money, for example, and they call me one day later saying, I don't have panic attacks. I do know that I had them. I do feel the little kind of a excitement here. I don't know if it's an anxiety of excitement, but it's gone. Like, how? And I was like, I didn't. And sometimes they still believe that I did something. I said, I didn't. I was a guide for sure. I showed you something that you don't see, but the change is happening within the client. So yes, the rapid, it is available to people. Whether people are going to have it or not, it depends, but it's available out there.
Yeah, Kate, I went to 3 decades of therapy, and in one 3-hour session, my life forever changed because I was with the right person doing the right techniques. It's pretty phenomenal. So, what are some common challenges that you see your clients facing, and what strategies have proven effective in overcoming them?
Yeah. The biggest challenge that I notice is the word I don't know. So when we talk about the problem, when when I ask the questions, whether it's in the coaching or it's a pre-session consultation, they usually say, I just don't know. And this is the question that tricks, because people, when you are an adult, there is no word I don't know. There is a word I don't want to know. I don't want to know yet, or I'm not ready to know. Right? So I don't know. It's more like a child would say, well, I don't know, right? Within us, we already know. So I try to reframe it for the clients. This is the biggest challenge. Like, I don't know. If I don't know, it means that someone has to give me the answer. Someone has the answer for me. And that tricks, and we put the responsibility on the hypnotherapist or on a therapist or on a coach. When we reframe that, I was like, hey, let me help you get ready for the answer. Let me help you get ready to find out. And that helps a lot. The biggest challenge is that people feel like, I don't know, someone has to give it to me.
I love
So
it.
I would say that a little bit of a victim mentality, but it's in many of us still there in some moments. But it's the biggest challenge that I see with clients.
Yeah, isn't it incredible how your clients and every human being actually has the answers to all of their problems buried in their subconscious?
It is, right?
And
It is. And they believe that even if they know, for example, they say, well, I know I don't feel worthy, or I know I feel like I'm not smart enough, or I know I'm sabotaging because I'm afraid of change, right? Or I'm not worthy of success. But the thing is, they know it, but they don't realize it.
yeah,
They know it, they don't realize it on a deeper level, so that they're like, oh, that's not me anymore. I was 5, I was 6, I was 7, I was 12 when I started to believe that. It's not even relevant right now.
Yeah.
They don't know that. That's why I love RTT, because it helps people go back and really reframe it, change it, bring the mind back into the present moment,
And
and look at
tell
control.
us how do you access the subconscious mind?
Yeah. There are different methods. And the two of the things that I really like is one is hypnosis. The other one is conversational hypnosis, which means the right questions, the right kind of like the helping people uncover the potential within them, going into trance without even closing their eyes. That's possible, right? So I like to accessing subconscious mind through hypnosis and through conversational hypnosis when people are actually already in the trance, but they don't even know it.
Yeah, and why is hypnosis and conversational hypnosis so great at accessing the subconscious mind?
Yeah. Usually it's because it's a natural state of mind. It's a natural, everything that is so natural to us is the healing. Let's start it with this. Life is already a therapy. Life is a therapy in itself. If you notice how to read life, how to interpret life, events, experiences, you can definitely make the changes within yourself. And hypnosis is such a natural state of mind. When you sleep and you dream, dreams consolidate the stress, right? People who don't dream might feel quite tired and exhausted and stressed in their life. People who do dream, they consolidate. So hypnosis is such a natural process to consolidate the stress, to make the changes, to reframe things, to heal.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is most of the problems that people have, the underlying issues that are buried in their subconscious mind were formed between the ages of like birth and 7. Well, guess what state those children were in
Are
most of the time? A hypnotic state.
exactly right.
That's how
Fully
their
in the
as their brain was
subconscious mind.
developing. That's what they were in. So, um, you talked at the beginning, Kate, about going back to the root cause, and I am so with you. Whether it's pain, medical, or mental, you've got to go to the source, or it's going to come back, like you said. So, why not use the exact state that you were in when you formed the issues? And the issues are just really nothing more than a meaning that you place on something that happened to you, right? We did
Yeah.
it. We all did it, right? My meaning was because of my dad making fun of me and hitting me, I'm not enough. And I carried that through till I was 47 years old. I believed I wasn't enough, and it messed up marriages and my kids and businesses and my health, all kinds of stuff. And then I went through that 3-hour session. And it was like, whoa, wait, that had nothing to do with me. That was my parents, my environment that I was in, and that's when everything changed. But what did I do? I went to the root.
Yes. And when we grow up, we start to be driven by these. Well, actually, we are driven by what's unconscious. If we are talking about our behaviors, triggers, actually, we are driven by what's unconscious. Once it becomes conscious, we can gain control over the choice. We bring it to the consciousness, like, oh, I can do something about it. I can do something about this problem. So we start to direct our life. But if it's not, we are driven by the unconscious mind. So when people say like I'm a control freak, I was like, are you sure? Because you are definitely controlled by your unconscious mind. So I'm not sure if you're in control.
Yeah.
So in control is bringing the issues into the unconscious mind and reframing them in whatever way you choose to do that. That's when you
Yeah.
have the control over the choices and over your life and actions.
I love it.
Absolutely.
So, if you're curious, if you have some of these underlying hidden subconscious beliefs that were formed in early childhood, I created a tool. Do yourself a favor and your family and your business and your health and your children and go to unlocklimitlessyou.com/quiz and take our 3-minute self love quiz. It's only 12 questions, and the information that you get may start you on a journey that will change your life in ways, and your relationship and your abundance and your financial situation in ways that you might not even be able to manage or imagine. Excuse me, I'm a little tongue tied this morning. So do yourself a favor, go to unlocklimitlessyou.com/quiz, take the quiz. So Kate, do you do much with like goal setting and helping your clients achieve goals? And if so, what are some key techniques or tools that you think are super effective?
Absolutely. Yeah. So when people come to me for a coaching session, they're like, okay, I wanna figure out how to reach my goals, how to unlock my potential. I was like, okay. And we've done already the work on the subconscious mind, right? People are listening to the recording, reframing the beliefs. And I was like, let's find out what are your core values and goals. Because very often we reach the goals that are borrowed. They're not ours. So I was
Mm,
like, why do you want it? What for? And they're like, well, people in my industry get that success, right? Or that's what I believe is the only way. I was like, no, 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 no. Let's set your goals. And in order to set your own authentic goals, you need to find out, what are you driven by? What are your values? For some people, value will be beauty, for example. They will be driven by beautiful things, creativity, whatever. Other people will be driven by community work, like bringing value into the community, right? Of course,
right,
their goals are going to be different, but
right.
we are running after the goals that are actually not our goals. And you can reach them. People, if they are determined, they can reach the goals for sure. And we can give them so many tools, starting from breaking the goal into actionable things, right? Like we can do so many things. But first, to define whether it's your goal or it's the goal that is driven to you by the society, expectations, the success of others. Once you figure out your own goal, it's so much easier to reach it than if you're running after someone else's goals. So that's my biggest tool first. We define whether it's your goal or it's not your goal. And very often people say, it's actually not what I want.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
then we define the values that you drive you. What are your values? So I do a little exercise where I take about 300 values. There is a list online. People can just download it. People can do it by themselves. You take the list of the values, you sit there in a relaxed state, and you read each value. You close your eyes and you say, does that resonate with me? And you just put the check marks. And you pick and consolidate it into maybe 5, 7 values that really drive you and will help you reach your goal. For example, my value is finding the root cause, finding the reason. So of course I will be driven to do the RTT. I'm never tired for the RTT session, almost never. Sometimes on Saturdays. But most of the time I'm really happy to do the session. Even though I might be very tired, something clicks in my mind and I'm just full of energy for the session.
Yeah,
Why? Because my value is that fascination with the root cause. This fascination with the people's stories. If
right.
people have a creativity as their goal, or artistic beauty, you don't have to make them. You don't have to motivate them, inspire them. They just go and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, so many people in this world are doing things because their parents wanted them to. My partner Yvonne, she spent 25 years at a corporate job because that's what her mom wanted her to do. And now she's left that corporate job. She's working with me here at Limitless U, and her life is just so much better because she stepped into what she really wanted to do. So we were walking to dinner last night talking to each of us, and she was saying she got in this conversation with her kids who are 13 and 17 about if they won the lottery, what would they do? And it was exactly opposite of, it was different from what they're planning on doing. And
Mhm.
she's trying to teach them, as I am teaching my two kids, is that, look, you can do anything you want to do. So many parents are like, you got to go to school, then you got to go to business school or medical school, and you got to become a doctor. No, you don't. Stop telling your kids that. Your kids don't live to walk in your shoes. Let them go forge their own path. Let them know that they can achieve anything. And in today's world, with the internet and the amount of information that we have access to, there's really nothing that anyone can't do that wants it bad enough.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. So that really, really helps to define what you want. And it might take you some time, but it's so worth it. And another tool that I usually use with clients when we want to, reach the goals, right, is I teach them one simple technique. Every time you have a negative feeling or some kind of a mental struggle, it's just a sign that you're lying to yourself. That's it. So, for example, if I feel fear, you're lying to yourself that, oh, this is a catastrophizing, or I'm going to fail, right? Or I'm not worthy of it, whatever. You're just, every uncomfortable feeling you have, it's the lie to yourself. And that, you have to just click and then think about it. What are you lying to yourself about? Sometimes people say, well, I feel unworthy or I feel not good enough. And I know I formed it. How can I start telling myself I am good enough if it feels like it's a lie? I was like, no, 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 no. You're coming back to the truth. You started lying to yourself unconsciously, unintentionally, based on the experiences you had long ago, maybe at 3 or at 4, right? You started telling yourself the only way that was available to you. That was a lie, but you didn't know about that. And now you're coming back to the truth that you are lovable, that you are good enough. So don't say that you're lying to yourself doing these affirmations of self hypnosis, NLP recording. No, you are coming back to the truth. That's it. So anytime you feel something, it's a lie towards it. It's the way you talk to yourself.
A famous person named Jesus once said, "The truth shall set you free." And I've never heard what you said, Kate. That's pretty awesome. Anytime you have a negative feeling, you're lying to yourself. I said it a little differently, but I love the way you said it, is you cannot suffer if you're living in the truth. Suffering, most suffering in this world is self-inflicted, and it's inflicted because we are living in the untruth that we're not lovable, we're not enough, we're not smart enough. And those are all lies.
Yes.
I can promise you, no matter what anyone says, it's a lie, because at your core essence, you're nothing but light and love. And the only reason you feel this way is because you had to protect yourself from some event many, many, many years ago. So, Kate, is there a common problem or issue that you see more than others? Like, do you work with anxiety or drinking, or is there something, or is it just kind of all over the board?
Yes. So I niche in fears, anxieties, and panic attacks. So fears, all sorts of fears. If people go to my website, they'll see like the list of 40 fears that I put, and people say, I have all of them. Like
Oh, wow.
starting from like fear of losing loved one, fear of like health anxiety, all types of anxiety fears, and even phobias. I started to niche it long ago, 3 years ago, and I find it fascinating because you kind of become better at that when you're just like focusing your attention on anxiety. And of course, people come with other issues because, as you know, RTT goes about root cause. No matter what people come to you with, it goes right where it needs to go, to the root cause of the problem.
What's the most common phobia that you see?
A fear of flying.
Fear of flying. Okay, so
Fear of flying.
someone's listening to this right now and they have a terrible fear of flying. What could they do to lessen that, or heal it, or fix it?
Yeah. So usually I always recommend doing the session because it's such an unconscious trigger. Any phobia that people have, it's an unconscious trigger. It's a very strong connection of some kind of belief with the trigger. It's a strong connection. Then let's just say that neural pathways is very strong. Every time people see a bug, if they're afraid of bugs, driving when they sit in the car at the steering wheel, or they are looking at the airport, or even thinking about it, the mind connects it with whatever it is. Like, I'm gonna die. But people say, when I go to the root cause, people need to understand that what is at the root cause, you don't know it yet. You don't know how your mind connected specifically that flight with whatever belief you have. And very often it's the most fear of flying, fear of driving, by the way, fear of animals, fear of vomiting, emetophobia, very, very common thing, right? It's such an incredible thing. So when the person forms the phobia, it's a certain environment and the mindset that they are right now in the airplane. So, for example, I had a strong fear of flying.
Oh, you did?
Yes, and one RTT session got rid
Go
of it. Yeah, I'm done with it. I get excited for the flight right now. And
on.
last year I took about, I don't know, 15 flights and loved every and each of them, even when we got like pretty intense turbulence. When the person forms a phobia, it is a certain circumstances around, because in the traumatic experience, isolated, unexpected, painful experience, the mind becomes like a camera. And the mind takes pictures of colors of the walls, the environment, where are you in, the smells, the season. And if it's a very intense moment, the mind can connect that specific belief, whatever, I'm not good enough, I'm worthless, I'm out of control, I'm helpless. with that specific thing. One simple example. I had a client who was afraid of rabbits. Like it's a lot of them here in Canada. You can't go out without meeting one.
Oh, how can
So,
you be afraid of a little rabbit?
rabbit, right? Like, and she came to me. Phobias get us super frustrated because we know it's irrational, but we still have it, and we still panic attack. We have panic attack response. She comes to me and she's like, I don't know where it's coming from. I know they're the fluffiest, cutest animals. I'm still afraid of them. But when we go to the memory, we go to a couple of memories, and last memory that she goes to, she's like, I'm standing at the front of my house. My dad, I'm 7 years old. My dad is leaving the family. He's packing the things in the truck.
Oh,
And I feel like if he goes, I'll have to stay with my mom, who I don't feel loved by her. The only person that I loved, that loved me, was my dad. And now he's leaving. And I turn my head and I see the rabbit on the front yard.
oh my gosh.
And that mind connects it to the rabbit.
Oh my gosh, that's fascinating.
And she was like, what? That's when we go into the session. I was like, look how your mind, in that very painful moment, connected everything you see around yourself as a danger. And now every time she sees a rabbit, what kind of feelings she feels? Out of control, helpless. I'm not going to be loved. The rabbit just started like a reminder, like a trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when we disconnect that, and disconnection means by realization that, oh my, the rabbit, this has nothing to do with my feelings. I'll have to work on my feelings. The same happens with driving. Another client drives on a highway. His wife calls him and says, you know what, I'm filing for divorce, right on phone, not even direct one-on-one conversation. What is he starting to be afraid of? Of driving. He has a panic attack while driving, pulls on the side of the road, and starts to be afraid of driving for years and years.
Wow.
The mind, in a very isolated moment, pictures the things and defines them whether they are dangerous or not.
So, Kate, let's just say that someone's listening and they've got the fear of flying, and for one reason they can't work with us. What could they do on their own to lessen the fear?
Yeah, they can listen. I have a meditation that has a little hypnosis regression on my YouTube channel. They can go Kate Semeniuk, Fear of Flying, hypnosis, and they can listen to and they can go by themselves in a very safe environment at their home and realize, when did they connect danger, the feelings of helplessness, the feelings of not being good enough, worthless, with that specific trigger, with the flying.
Love it. Yeah. Okay, so how about advice? What advice could you give someone who's feeling, stuck or unsure about how to advance in their personal or professional life? What could you tell them?
Yeah, well, nothing in this universe is stuck. Everything is moving, right? So that's a good thing to say. When we say I'm stuck, or I'm frozen, right? Or something like that. I'm in a freeze mode, right? I was like, nothing really is stuck. Everything is moving, right? So that's what I will always reframe the language. Our success is defined by the way we talk to ourselves. We know that. People, we hear it from many coaches, many motivational speakers, but do we really track the words that we tell ourselves? People, I meet my neighbor and she's like, it's a horrendous weather. And I'm like, can you imagine how your body reacts to the word horrendous? And she's like, yeah, I get panic. I get anger that we have this cold for 6 months. I was like, why don't you say, I'm not a fan of winter, but I can handle it. But when we say horrible, horrific, it's killing me, I'm dying from this allergy, all of these words, we need to track it. So when people feel stuck, it's like, don't worry, you're not stuck. It's just this slowing down moment that for you feels like you're stuck. If you're stuck, let's just say, then what is stopping you? Find what is the belief, thought is stopping you. And then you're going to be able to move on, to move forward. So I would really recommend to work on the limiting beliefs, on the mental blocks. It's you can choose other things. You can choose to move on, to shut it down, to suppress it, to numb it, to Netflix it, right? To do whatever you need, to alcohol it, whatever you want to do, you can do that. Remember that if you don't make a decision to heal, that's okay. If you don't make a decision by yourself, the decision will be made for you, but you won't like the consequences.
What does that mean?
It means that, for example, I really want to open my own business, for example. I really want to, but I'm indecisive. Something is stopping me. I'm stuck. So I'm just going to keep going and working for an employer, my regular life. And so in the future, from doing not what you love, you're going to get sick because the thoughts and beliefs and the feelings making changes in your body and your cells. So the decision will be made for you. If you don't want to leave your job right now, there will be a physical condition that will help you not being able to do that work anymore. So don't worry, the decision will be made for you. You won't like the consequences.
No, said another way, my buddy Mark Mincola has this amazing book and documentary on Gaia. He's like, either you take care of your issues or the universe will take care of them for you.
Exactly. It's exactly the same, but the little different, right? So people, when they say, I'm afraid to make the decision, I'm afraid to take a step, I'm afraid to take an action, I was like, don't worry, it will be taken for you, but you will be out of control of the consequences.
Wow.
So you choose now. Either you want to be in control of even if the consequences are sometimes painful, uncomfortable, but you are in control of them.
Yeah.
Not the other way around. Not when the universe take care of things, because universe loves you and always wants to help you. It's just the methods are, you don't always feel like the methods are really good, but they are always beneficial for you.
Man, time flies when you're having fun. I feel like we've been talking for 4 minutes and there goes the 31 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Kate, how can someone reach you if they're interested in learning more about you?
Yeah, they can reach me on social media. I'm very active on social media. I have an Instagram account, Kate Semeniuk, and also on my website, katesemeniuk.com. I have a YouTube channel. They can watch lots of my videos. And my biggest goal is to make a podcast soon.
All right. Well, I know a guest if you need one. Awesome. So that concludes another episode of How to Be Happier for Entrepreneurs. Kate, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
I'm on a mission to help 1 million people find these limiting beliefs and help them radically transform their lives. And I can't do it without your help. I need your help. I put a lot of time and a lot of money in this podcast. If you guys can just do a favor for me and rate this, review it, share it, anything you can do to help me get this word out would be greatly appreciated. Until next time, love heals all.
Hit subscribe if you don't want to miss out on more life-changing content. And if you're struggling, you don't have to. Go to bradchandler.com/contact. There, you can join the Facebook community of like-minded entrepreneurs, and you'll see a button to schedule your freedom and happiness call. See you on the next episode.